esteemed panel with the world's biggest criminals on stage.
What are you talking about? Yeah. Thanks for the welcome.
No problem. It's a good start. So right off the bat, I want to say that we're going to do a little bit more of an extra Q&A, and the microphone for the Q&A is going to be up there. So in about 30 minutes, I will notify you. Until then, start preparing your questions, because if you don't, one of these two is going to be really, really angry, and they might tie you and put you on a train track. So
that's true. Yeah.
First off, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I want to say that I did a little bit of a deep dive on both of you. And while doing a deep dive, I found videos of Peter covered in oil cooking food on John Marston's YouTube channel.
You didn't have to dive too deeply to find him covered in oil. He does that all the time.
Pretty much everywhere you look, you're going to find me covered in oil. That's my thing, and people love it.
Well, on top of that, though, I also found that you started a conspiracy theory about a hidden dance scene in Red Dead Redemption where Micah invites Dutch on a dance scene. And as I understand, it's a conspiracy theory. Do you have anything to say on that?
I don't think it's a theory. I mean, it's actually a hidden mission. And I don't know if anyone's actually unlocked it yet. But yeah, there's a scene where Micah and Dutch dance in the woods. It's snowing. It's very beautiful, it's very still, and they're just dancing to the music that plays in their hearts. Yeah, that's all I can say about it, because I don't want to spoil it.
So the game's been out for like 8 years, right? But the people still haven't found the scene, right? They just need to play.
They gotta keep playing.
Okay.
But it's gonna be worth it.
It's like the...
I'd just like to distance myself from these comments officially.
Understandable.
But I'm looking forward to whoever discovers that scene. I'm looking forward to hearing about their experience.
If someone discovers it, are you going to give them anything?
My respect.
Nice. Very nice.
Very valuable.
Yeah, very valuable. So, Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the most cinematically impressive games ever made, and one of the most narratively celebrated games ever made. When both of you started and you joined the project, did you anticipate how giant of a project it was going to be?
Well, excuse me for coughing into the microphone. I don't think there was any possibility to anticipate us being here today when we were working on the game. If we had considered, I think, the impact that the story we were participating in might have, it would have been a much different enterprise. I think we were all working together so closely in such secrecy for so long. Our focus was entirely on the story that we were telling and the people we were lucky enough to be telling it with. I mean, the ensemble that we are a part of is among the best ensembles I've ever worked alongside. And it's one of the frustrations sometimes when the work is called voice acting. People don't really understand how we did it, because we were all together every day we worked, opposite of each other. There was no voice acting involved at all. It was entirely done identically to how they did the Avatar films. So it was full performance capture. So there were 20 of us in the gang, and for 5 years. And at a certain point, we were just interested in being finished. Like, I don't think that we imagined or even really thought about what folks would make of it. And then within months after it came out, to see the artwork that so many people had done, to see the cosplay that people are still doing, we all, at least speaking just for myself, I started as a fan of the arts and of acting and of cowboys and all these things when I was a little kid, and the idea that I get to not just be a part of it, but then get to see the work that I'm a part of inspiring in young people the way I was inspired. I mean, the short answer is no idea. But the larger answer is just how lucky I think every one of us feels to be able to participate in a story that has reached so far and so many people. And that's to the credit of the ensemble I got to be a part of, and it's really to the credit of Rockstar Games and the reach that they have as a company and the dedication they have to actor-driven storytelling.
And I know that you used to say to me how lucky you felt to have worked, to be able to have worked with me specifically.
I might have said that. I don't think I did.
Yeah, maybe. I might be wrong about
No,
that.
I know you're kidding, but the reality is that there was a large part, in the 5 years that we were on this, there was a large segment of work where it was Roger Clark, Peter, and I working on the sort of that trio of Arthur, Dutch, and Micah. And I will say, in all sincerity, that working with you you're one of my favorite actors I've ever worked with.
Oh, thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Hashtag ad. You said that you worked on it for 5 years, right? Something along those lines?
So when we did Red Dead 1, Rob, Steve Palmer, and I, and Sophia, but that's a longer story, we did that work in less than a year. I did all the work I did as Dutch, which was really 3 or 4 scenes. That was the audition process, that was the rehearsal process, and the capture process, the performance capture process. That all took maybe 3 months. And the game came out within a year. With Red Dead 2, they contacted me, I think, in July-ish of 2013. And my first day on set was January of 2014. And my last day on set was around July, August of 2018, right before it came out that October. So just shy of 5 years.
Was it sad to say goodbye to everyone? Because I feel like the big difference between acting on a movie, right? I assume it doesn't take 5 years, and here you spent 5 years. I mean, even both of you together, right? You said you were in the same room, in the same bed, right? It was.
I said that?
I never said bed, but hey.
You said it was snowing, right? You were dancing.
No spoilers. But yeah, 5 years is a long time. Now, it wasn't 5 years every single day for 5 years. It was off and on. But yes, we all became very close during that period of time. And so when it was over, I don't know if we were even able to fully realize the impact of that time spent with those people for that long when it was over. We knew the story was over, we knew we were done, and there were some emotional sort of final scenes that I remember being a part of, and then, like many things, one day you're just not, you know, your life is different then. You're not going to that same place anymore. And so I think we all processed it a little bit differently, but one of the things that we continue to do is stay in touch. Which is kind of amazing when you think about a group of people who've worked together. This many people have stayed close and friends for this long, which is kind of astounding for any work, in any work environment. To be friends with that many people is I think, uncommon.
But I think part of it was, even still, no one but us really knows what it was. Nobody but us really knows what we went through. And to have 5 years of your life dedicated to an enterprise where you don't really know what the end date is, it was a real, I mean, that's longer than I was in college. I was working on one story. The good news is what a great story. But it changed. My life was very different while I was working on it. My life is very different now that it's over. You do a play, let's say you do a play that runs for 2 months or a month. You're you have a postpartum depression when that thing closes. When this work ended, there was a big hole in my life, I think in a lot of our lives.
A big what?
Emptiness,
Ah.
a hole. So the exciting thing about your question about saying goodbye, we never really knew what the last day was going to be. And Rockstar would say over and over again, this is the last day. And then you get a call, there's a little bit more to do. And it would go on and on because they're perfectionists and they don't ever want to be done. But so we did, the real finality was when it came out. And you were in New York when it came out?
Yeah.
And so there was a group of us that were in LA, and the bulk of the actors were in New York, and there was a party that night that we all...
What? There was?
Oh, you didn't get invited.
Oh, that's no
Sorry
surprise.
about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then experiencing the game, I experienced playing the game just like anyone else did, you know? None of us played it beforehand or anything or experienced that, so, you know, well...
I did a little.
Well, maybe you did a little bit, but...
Did both of you play through the game?
I got 100%.
He 100%ed it.
Damn.
Yeah.
But somebody down at my table said they platinumed it and asked if I had done that. And
But what's the difference?
platinum is you got to get 3 gold stars on each mission.
You don't have that.
No.
All right, so that's not really 100% then.
No, I really got 100%.
All right.
I just didn't get platinum.
I think I got like 60%, but I finished the game, you know.
When you were playing through the game, Peter, what was your own reaction at your character? Because Mike is a bit of a,
Careful.
He's a nice fella at times. What was your own reaction to your own character? Because, you know.
I mean, honestly, I to be honest, I thoroughly enjoy it, you know. And it's a little weird at first when I'm playing the game because in the very beginning, I'm sort of taken outside of the game for a little bit because I'm remembering a certain day that we shot a certain thing. I'm thinking of my friends whose voices I'm hearing in this context, and I'm wondering how it's all going to unravel. And but very quickly, while playing the game, I just became invested in the story in the game and kind of forgot that that I was the guy who, you know, playing this character or whatever. I just got fully invested in the story, just like anyone else would.
Was it different because both of you come from theatrical backgrounds, if I'm not wrong? Is it different watching yourself in the game versus seeing a play or a movie of yourself psychologically?
In my experience, 100%. When you are working on camera and you are seeing, I mean, for me, all I see I try not to watch my work on camera as much as I can because I just sort of see, oh my God, you look like you gained weight or you lost weight, you look old, you look, there's tension in the work. Like, I can't turn off the critical eye. When you're seeing your avatar, it doesn't look just like you, but you can kind of admire your work from a distance, and there's a division, and so your ego somehow is not quite as tied into what it looks like, and so it's a very different experience, but the other thing is just how well Rockstar, I mean, cooked. The whole thing just looks so good. You don't really even have time to fixate on your work in the way that we sort of would do, because it was performance capture, but we did also work in the booth. But when we would go in the booth, we would be interacting with work we'd already done. And so you go into the booth and they put the same helmet on your head so that the work that you're doing in the booth, you're really re-recording your face. And then they take that face and put it on your body from when you did the scene on the day.
Right. If they needed to fix a line or adjust a line or something, we would come in, and that's why we would be, you know, doing that.
But so when you're doing a film, that happens too. Like, so numbers, I think I did 130 days of performance capture to do Dutch in the second game. I did about 17 days in the booth. And most of the work in the booth was cleaning up work we'd done on stage. Now, when I do a feature film or a TV show, I'll work many fewer days, but I'll still end up in the booth for a feature film because you're going in to clean up dialogue or to fix dialogue or to add a dialogue point. So the booth is part of the work on camera as well as in performance capture. I lost my thread.
It's like, where are you going
What
with this?
am I answering? What's the question?
Yeah, don't worry, we all forgot the question at this point.
Wow.
I'm killing it.
When I hear, this is slightly not correlated at all, but I remember the Star Wars prequels, completely random thing.
Okay.
That was like the invention of the blue screen by George Lucas, where all the actors acted in front of a blue screen, and some of them were a little bit more critical of the entire thing, and they were like, I miss the actuality of acting in front of people or in an environment. Did motion capture spark any feelings like that for both of you, or was it completely just easy, smooth sailing?
I mean, yeah, people do ask about that. Like, well, what was it like? Because we have to wear the tight suits, the super sexy tight suits, skin tight suits that reveal every curve of your body. And then, but we're wearing gun holsters and cowboy boots. So it's a bit silly if you just walked in and saw that. But for me, it's just make-believe. It doesn't matter to me that it's not a full Western costume. It doesn't matter to me that instead of a tree there, it's a piece of PVC piping that represents the tree, because I'm just imagining the world that has been created. That's what I'm told to imagine, and so it's I found it to be maybe more freeing in a way, because I was able to just live in that make-believe, in that imagination on every level.
It was not unlike working on stage or going in theater school, but I love that you brought up the prequels, because Ahmed Best, who played Jar Jar Binks, he and an animator named Rob Coleman and John Knoll, the technology they developed on episode 1. I know Andy Serkis gets a lot of credit, and he deserves a lot of credit. A guy who doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion, is Ahmed. And the work on Jar Jar, I think Lucasfilm was very invested in that character being completely digital creation, and I think it kind of marginalized the way Ahmed was talked about. Or not talked about, I think. And I'm always happy to give him his flowers, because Ahmed Best is one of the most important actors in the history of performance capture. He was there as the tech was being developed. He helped develop the tech that we ended up employing when we made Red Dead Redemption.
So, perfect segue about Jar Jar, which is crazy that we're talking about Jar Jar. I remember in the behind the scenes, there was Jar Jar was way taller than the actor, and so everyone had to like awkwardly look into like nothingness when actually acting. And then I remember when you were doing performance capture, you were too tall for Dutch's character, right? And there was something about eye lines or something that adjusted. What was that about?
Well, so, okay, it didn't matter on the first Red Dead. Because on the first Red Dead, every non-playable character was based on Rob Wiedoff's movements. So when Dutch ceased to be, I was only Dutch when it was a cutscene. And the cutscenes, our relative height didn't matter, because they could put the camera anywhere to cheat the height. So it never came up on the first game. On the second game, every one of the gang members is themselves. So when you see Micah Bell anywhere in the game, it is based on data of him moving. So even if the AI or whatever you call it that is running the sort of character is moving around, it's still him. And the same is true for Dutch. And it became an issue that Dutch didn't just live in cutscenes anymore, now he lived throughout the world. So they had to dial in his height to 6 feet. I'm 6'6". Now, in most cutscenes, it's not an issue, but in some cutscenes, like when I had to dance with Grimshaw or with Molly, if the actors are making eye contact with me, they're looking in the wrong place. So they would put an X on my chest where my eyes would be. So I'd be dancing with Kylie, and Kylie would be looking at my chest, and I'd be looking straight at nothing. And then the animators would line that up. But the other thing that would happen is, once I learned that I was shorter than I actually was, if I'd go to reach for something like that, they would then realize they had to put it closer so that it was not, it was a 6 foot reach, not a 6.5 foot reach. Is that making sense to anybody? Okay. Mostly it was not my problem. It was their problem. And I prefer it when things are other people's problem.
When you said dancing with Micah.
I never did do that, ever.
Wait a minute.
But maybe somebody else jumped in, and I'm staying out of it. No,
yeah, again, like no spoilers.
Yeah, fair. So, Peter, you've played a controversial character, sometimes friendly, and it was like a similar situation to, I would compare it to a Joffrey Baratheon from Game of Thrones, where he was so comically evil that people almost transferred the hate onto the actor as well at some points. What was your experience playing a character that people hated, and did you in real life anyway encounter that?
I had a great time playing the character, and I guess I did. I must have said something a few years ago about getting hate for the character, and a lot of people bring it up, and it was surprising to me at first. I would get private messages or whatever you call it on Instagram, and sometimes they would just be something that would just say F you, and that's it. And I thought, oh, that's a bit rude. I don't know this person, and it took me aback a little bit, and then I quickly realized it's only because the people who were playing the game were so invested and passionate about the story that then, of course, they're seeing me as sort of an extension of Micah, and it's almost like a kind of role-playing in a way. Nobody was seriously trying to, take me out or anything, or attack me. It's all in good fun, ultimately.
Yeah, that's for the best, not probably.
It is. I never took any of these so-called hate seriously at all. So
it's kind of a good review if they despise you.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like people would say something terrible online about me, and then someone else would have to come to my defense and say, well, hey, he's just the actor. If you hate him, it means he did a good job. And, well, yeah, and I appreciate that. So, and I did do a good job.
You did.
Segueing from the people reacting so much, I do wonder, because people could actually play the game for hundreds of hours, and the bond it creates between the actor and the player is unlike probably any other media, from film to theater to anything. How different do you feel like that bond is from someone who approaches you for a movie to a game? Is there anything?
I think that for the game, I mean, people, it becomes so much more personal because you've been pulled into that story, You become a character in that story. You are a part of that family, that gang. You become invested emotionally on all the ups and downs. You're a part of it, and you feel like everyone else there, that you know them. And it's a much more intimate experience. And so that's why I think people, that's why the passion is so strong about this particular game, and a lot of games in general. I think because of that intimacy. You are one of the characters. You are the central character of that story. So
it's remarkable, and that's another to your question about did we anticipate sort of the impact this was going to have. I had I don't want to overstate it, but I had a really remarkable experience in Pittsburgh a few years ago at a convention. There was a young man, I think around 14, that he was on, I believe, the autism spectrum. And he kept calling me Dutch, which will happen from time to time. And he was being very tactile with me and putting his arm around me, and he was talking about camp, and he was talking about just talking to me like I was Dutch. And like he was very familiar with me. And about 15 minutes later, a woman with tears in her eyes came to my table and told me that she was that young man's mother. And again, I don't want to mischaracterize it, but I believe what she told me was that she had not seen him touch a man that was not in his immediate family ever before. And the fact that this technology and this story and this way of intersecting with the audience could yield that kind of an intimate comfort with a person who'd never met me, just because my voice was so familiar to him, my behavior was so familiar to him, he felt as though he knew me like a family member. That's remarkable to me, and I don't think that happens with film. I think it's different. I'm not saying one's better or worse, but I think it's very different.
I don't know if either of you are familiar with a term called parasocial. It's a more of a Zoomer term now.
Are you calling us old?
No, you're the appropriate age. But a parasocial is where it's more for content creators, I guess, where a fan has a relationship with the creator, let's say, or the actor, but the actor's never really heard of them, but since they spend so much time in the circle watching their content or watching any of their mediums, that they feel like they develop a bond. And this is the first time I feel like I'm hearing that happen to, I guess, the actor medium as well, because it's a pretty common thing for content creation, online content, I'd say. This is the first time I'm hearing that you guys actually encounter it.
Well, it's something, but I suppose if I'm understanding it, I mean that is an actual real connection. This is we spent 5 years pouring, and we poured everything we had. I mean, everything we had, we gave to this game. We could not have loved it more. And to now have that love reflected back at us is humbling, doesn't begin to describe it. But the difference, I think, in what you're describing is that's a real connection, the parasocial. To an extent, they're intersecting with you literally. Mm-hmm. There is no Dutch Vanderland.
That's true.
Right? So they're intersecting with a performance, a written, scripted performance, but because of that tech, it feels very much like you know these people. And it's pretty amazing.
That's true. I fully agree. Going back to the actual game for a slight second. Micah in the game is, again, as I said, sometimes good, a little bit cruel at times, terrifying. To some very lovely. How did you manage to balance all of that? As you as an actor, as a voice actor, how did you manage to portray him as he was?
Well, I didn't have to dig very deep. It wasn't much of a stretch for me. No,
He is one of the sweetest people you're ever going to meet. He's just playing around.
As far as portraying that kind of a character who's not a very nice person, to say the least, is not a friendly person. Honestly, it's, again, there's a bit of freedom in that for me, because I enjoy the idea of being able to go into the sort of dark, weird corners of a human brain and play around with that, knowing that it's play first and foremost, and then at the end of the day, I'm still friends with everyone, and I get a paycheck, sort of friends.
Friends with benefits.
Well, yeah. You're the one bringing it to the next level.
Well, I'm the two of you,
So yeah, if am I addressing your question in a way that you're? So it's not like I'm going, oh, I got to get out of this mindset. It's tearing me apart, and how do I? Because I'm living it so thoroughly. I enjoy going into those weird, dark places, and I can do it fairly quickly, and I can slide right out of it and be so yeah. That's the long-winded answer to your question.
So it's time for audience questions. If any of you have any questions at all for these two fine gentlemen, the microphone, as I see, is right over there. So if any of you want to ask anything, it's your once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to ask something right now.
Once in a lifetime?
Yeah, all
right.
Good.
Maybe twice.
This is a lot of pressure.
For them, it might be once in a lifetime. Not for you. Yeah.
So then, I have a question for Benjamin. You said that you played the game, you have 100%. So can you answer this? Have you seen Gavin?
I have met many a Gavin in my lifetime, but in the game, no. That character is a lot of fun, though. What is the name of the guy looking for Gavin? I don't know his name.
I don't remember. But you never get. No one ever finds Gavin, right? That's the.
I think there's a question as to whether or not Gavin is alive or dead, or whether he actually exists. And somebody told me that which I never tried to do. Apparently, you can kill that guy.
Oh,
and he's got papers on him that
reveal something about Gavin or himself. Okay.
But the short answer to the question is, I don't know where the hell Gavin is.
Next.
So my question is, I have a question for Benjamin and Peter. What are your favorite type of cookies?
Favorite type of what?
Cookies.
Cookies. Like cookies that you eat.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Cookie.
I'm going to go with Malamar.
Wow, this is.
You know what a Malamar is? Do you guys have Malamars?
I don't think we have now.
It's like a marshmallow and graham cracker and chocolate.
Yeah, but they can only sell it at certain times of the year because if it's too warm, they melt.
It melts really quickly. This is a very good question. It's a complicated question.
Once in a lifetime question here.
Yes. Well done, my friend. Well done. I'm trying to think what my favorite cookie is. I'm not. Do you know what?
This is so exciting.
Do you have Nilla wafers here?
We have wafers, I'm pretty sure.
So this is a kind of cookie. It's very simple. It's like a little biscuit cookie. It tastes like vanilla. It's not overly sweet. It's a very simple cookie. I like a simple cookie. Got it?
So your favorite cookie is a cookie.
Is it? Yeah, that's about it. Good question.
I did not know these questions were going to be so challenging. Prepare.
Okay, so I have two questions only for Benjamin. So, since there's a cutscene, I don't know if it's a cutscene where Dutch and Mike are dancing. Is there a cutscene where Dutch is farming mangoes?
I hate to be a party pooper, but I'm just going to have to say this out loud. There is no cutscene with Dutch and Micah dancing. And there is no cutscene with Dutch farming mangoes that I'm aware of.
I'm about ready to walk off this stage.
And another question is, was Dutch a cannibal in the first game? Because that's kind of a theory.
I am aware of this theory, which I will call character assassination. Dutch is not a cannibal, and any other theory I'm going to stay away from. But Dutch is not a cannibal. Now, the enterprising people that suggest that he is, based on the evidence that they found, to really be a party pooper, those are just reused assets. So they only made one bone, and they have the bones everywhere. So the bone that is a femur bone for the cannibal outside of armadillo, just to demonstrate that I know what I'm talking about, that's the same bone as the bones in Cochine. The bones in Cochine are representing food that was eaten. Now, why it becomes confusing to the people who subscribe to the absolutely incorrect interpretation that Dutch is a cannibal are also responding to the fact that there's skulls inside of the Cochine. What they don't know, or perhaps they don't know, is that there was, at that time, a very common thing to find in a study of any learned scholar would be a human skull. It was as common to have a skull as it would be to have a globe or a map on the wall. And so the presence of the skull in Cochine is not to demonstrate that Dutch is a cannibal. It is to demonstrate that Dutch is one of the most wildly well-read and intelligent people circa 1899. Not a cannibal.
That's a great question, but I think your friend fell asleep or something.
Wow.
You're calling
I
this
guess
guy my
that's what
friend?
happened. Red hue or something. I
That
don't
was a
know.
long explanation.
I have not had a chance to address this publicly. I appreciate the opportunity, and there it is. I need never mention it again.
Thanks for a very long answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a cheeky young man.
I'm sorry, but this will have to be the last question.
Hello, thank you for being here. It's amazing to see you both. And I have a question because I didn't know before that you both played the game. And I wonder how weird was it to see you translated into pixels, and did it affect the way that you played the game? I mean, high versus low honor. And also I'm thinking about the missions such as breaking Micah from the jail, because personally I just went sightseeing instead of doing that. So I wonder.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, so I wonder how did it feel to play against your character, kind of, and interact with them?
Honestly, like I said before, I became fully just invested in the storyline, when I'm playing the game and I'm seeing the character of Micah, I realized like what a piece of shit he is, and that just puts a smile on my face. But again, just I don't think the fact that I worked on it took away from the experience at all. If anything, it enhanced it. But the story, the way it was put together, the writing behind it, everything just pulls me in right away, and I become fully absorbed. People sometimes ask, how much of that was improvised? Did you make up any lines? And no, the script was very, very clear, which was such a treat to work on something with a script that was so well written. Could just come in and it didn't involve a lot of extra work or thinking, what do they mean by this? And I think that comes across as a viewer, as a participant, as a player, as the story is unfolding. It pulls you right in. There you go.
Well, I guess that's all the time we have. Do either of you have any last words to say to these beautiful people?
I just am so delighted to be here. It's wonderful to be in Lithuania. It's wonderful to be at Comic Con Baltics. I'm so appreciative to look out and see all these faces, and to get to be a small part of such an enterprise as this is one of the great joys of my life. So if I have anything to express, it's gratitude.
Yeah, same here. I'm very, very thankful. Every time I meet everyone, it always amazes me the amount of connection also that fans of the game make with each other, from their own hometown to all over the world, meeting friends that have this similar passion for the game, and that they've remained friends, and they'll sometimes even meet up, and they'll maybe get lucky enough to meet each other in person at a Comic-Con, and I've seen examples of that so many times, and that it blows my mind. It's so amazing to me, and I'm so grateful to be a small part of that experience. So thank you.
Give a round of applause.